Hello there everyone, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on Master Ninja difficulty with Advanced Tactics. This is the 15th of 17 chapters. It's called Quickening Devastation. Marionette demons populate this first area of the map, and then we're going to have two sets of the purple Van Gelfs followed by one set of gold Van Gelfs. So if I were you, I would use ultimate techniques with either this weapon, the scythe, or the endless Fang, so you have some range. These marionette demons is the first time we're seeing them in the game so far, and we'll see them again, unfortunately. They're very fast and they're hard to deal with, and even pros do UTs. So there's really no sense of shame in doing UTs. Plus, you get all your money. So the thing I upgraded at the store, because we have an opportunity to upgrade another of our weapons. So what I upgraded was the scythe. I figured it was long overdue to get that thing up to level 3. So in the brief space of time before Marbus, I'd like to talk about what I'm upgrading and the loadout for Marbus himself. So I have 4 weapons at level 3, and then the one other weapon, the Dragon Sword, at level 4. The weapons I have at level 3 include this weapon here, the Lunar, and I also have the Tonfa, and now I have the Scythe and the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. The best loadout you want for Marbus is the Dragon Sword and the Wind Blades to deal with the lackeys. I say the Wind Blades and not the Inferno. Incidentally, right here, I was running back because I don't want to fight the Van Gelfs while that other guy's throwing fireballs at me. But check out this parry. I got a really good parry over here. So don't think that you can't parry these guys with attacks. So that parry killed that guy. That was a great move. A really nice move. The reason I say not the Inferno is because the lackeys, they take too long to burn up, and you just need them quickly dispatched. So the Wind Blades do that. You also want to purchase a Talisman of Rebirth, because you're not going to get another store until after the Zedonius, so you have to not use too many items on Marbus, and just be very conservative about your items. But what you need to do with the Talisman of Rebirth is, since it comes equipped, you need to unequip it, just to save yourself some hassle down the line in case you die. You don't want to have to just wait and have the game kill you again. What you need to do is just unequip it, because if you have to use a Talisman of Rebirth on Marbus, you need to practice him more, because he's such an easy boss. Trust me, you're going to really need the Talisman of Rebirth for Zedonius, because he's definitely the harder of the two enemies. And it just so happens that the store is at the beginning of this chapter, and there's not a store for a long time. So buy everything you can, max out your inventory. And like I said before, just be conservative on the boss fight with Marbus. I've no damage to that guy before. I've done a complete run. I used to have the footage, but not anymore. But maybe I could try to do it again. But what I did was I went to the store and saved it, and then did everything I needed to at the store. Got my loadout the way I needed it. And if you're going to follow in my steps, that's the loadout you're going to need for the fight. So let's go fight him. Okay, the only hard thing that I'll say about Marbus is sometimes it's a little hard to judge how far he is away, since you have seemingly limitless room to fight this guy. We've got these lesser fiends for lackeys, so do UTs if you want to. Remember, he eats up the Nympho drops that you get. Any essence that's just lingering in the air, you've got to go over to it real quick. I discussed this guy at length with Rachel, and I'm going to be having a slow motion clip afterwards. So I think this was 3 minutes, and then the next fight will be 6 minutes long. So he has his whirlwind twirl, which we're looking for him to do every single time. Evade at the proper time, and when I say that, basically the last second. So what I like to do, and what I've been doing, is fly swallow times 3, come down, Azuna drop, land, and do a final strike with the triangle button, or just dodge. So right there, if he would have grabbed me right there, this fight would have been over. So the Wind Blades are more than capable of dealing with these lackeys. You see right there, got them all. So it's nice to get those magic drops. That right there, that is a throw. So if he grabs you, your ass is dead. what else to say? I mean, he's got the same attacks. He's got the fireballs. Occasionally, he will pound the ground. See, he'll do that, the charge across the screen, but it's the same kind of move. I mean, it looks the same as when he's just pounding on the ground. Let's see if he does it over here. But so another batch of lackeys comes out. I don't know why I wasn't hitting him too many times right there. I guess I was just being cautious. The really bad thing about this situation is that, well, it's not going to be. It's just unique to my own personal situation, because when I beat this guy, my internet decided to die, and they kicked me off. I had to do this fight again, but it's so easy. I don't know. I just got pissed off. So always play this game in offline mode if your internet's not stable, because if you're signed in to this game and you ever have a problem, it'll just kick you off, even if you're at the final boss. So right there, I'm doing UTs. And since he didn't hit me, he's giving me free shots, although I can't avail myself of those free shots currently. So it's just important to know what gives you iframes here. Obviously, OTs, UTs, even doing the body slam with the Izuna drop, that's an iframe thing. So again, I really don't mess with him unless he does the whirlwind twirl. That's his signature move, and I also sometimes I don't hold the block button. I'm just always conditioned to hold the block button when I play this game, and sometimes when you're holding block and trying to move the left analog stick to evade, it doesn't work, and it's not anything that's wrong with the controller or anything. It's just sometimes it's not responsive, and that unresponsiveness could really damage you. See how I'm going to evade right at the last second? You can get away with it. See, check that out. So here he's doing his twirl again. I'm going to line myself up 6 o'clock. You really don't have to be lined up 6 o'clock and him 12, but it helps me out. So there's where I had to. Got a very narrow escape right there. And the lackeys are not too bad. I just can't understand how they could have so much HP, being those little creatures. I mean, so don't just cast the wind blades unless they're close to you. But when he goes in for his charge across the screen, what I do is I'm kind of walking around the map and then just evading at the last second. You don't really want to be in a position where you're constantly jump evading, because you're going to get it's just inevitable he'll ram into you. So you need to be on the ground and ready to evade that way. See that? That's the same. It looks the same exact as when he's just punching the earth and he comes to a rest. We'll have to see. But the difference between this game and Ninja Gaiden 2 as far as the setup is that first of all, you don't fight Marbus in Ninja Gaiden 2. You fight 2 Armadillo, which is a lot less fun in my opinion. But in that game, you can go back to the save point and save your progress, and then proceed. I think you can even go back to the store. Yeah, you can. You can even go back to the store. But here, they lock it so that you cannot go back to the save point. But the trade-off there is that instead of allowing the player to go back to the save point, what they do is they just checkpoint it after Marbus. So it doesn't matter if you die trying to get to the next save point, because you've got that checkpoint to fall back on. And hell, it didn't even come in handy for me because they just kicked me off. So the Van Gelfs. Watch how I deal with these guys. When I have them in OT status, if I'm right next to them, I press the triangle button. But if I'm too far away from them, I go for the reverse wind to get iframe. So let's see if I do it here. And these guys have low HP. So, see? No. it wasn't connecting right there. But we do have 2 more of those guys plus a black one, and those guys have a ton of HP. So this either has Ghost or Ghostfish or Money, and I was trying to do the 360 UT right there. That's why it's screwed up. But you might want to try to get Essence from there. There is a box with Essence, and it's one of those boxes that fills you completely up. So you can, feel free to use any Nympho you have, and just make sure you avail your, because there is a fight after the save point. So if you have any saved up, see iframes. I'm trying to get these iframes here. Just be aware that the reverse wind has iframes. So like if you go to the save point and like I did, I have 2 uses of the Nympho. It's a waste to open the chest because you might as well use what you have, and then on that fight after the save point, and then grab the Nympho afterwards. So here we have a bunch of marionette demons, and I'm going to use the Endless Fang and just chain attacks. I'm not sure how much these guys are worth, but my Endless Fang would normally kill these guys if it were on level 3, but it's only on level 2. I've just been having not much use for it these days. I used to depend on it for success. When I say that, I normally mean like I would need to use it to beat Zedonius and what's her name, Elizabeth. And the way I would do it is, well, just look at my other Master Ninja guide, the first one. It's a ways down on my playlist, but basically I would just spam the UTs with this weapon, and it would take off a little chip damage, and it would all add up. And it was a very slow process and a cheap process, and I never really learned how to play the game like that. But the save statue is going to dim right here. I've been wise to this trick a lot, so it's a bit of trickery that the game does. We have a lot of these Gold Van Gelfs, so I was in an awkward spot right there, but fortunately an ET, a 360 ET, killed that guy. So it just goes to show you how powerful this weapon is. Now, these guys will not fly down to the ground without some kind of provocation, so I do have to admit that the Howling Cannon works a little bit better at damaging them and making them fall to the ground. They will eventually make their way over to you, but you've just got to be aware of how deadly those fireballs are. I mean, an outright hit with one of those could just make you start back at the checkpoint. So here I'm just refusing to use the Howling Cannon because I hate it so much. But now, see how these guys are coming in close to me now? Now it's just a matter of charging a 360 UT. You really have to do a 360 UT in a situation like this because it doesn't matter if it doesn't connect right away. It still has a lot of sweeping damage, and the enemies just fall right into that circular area of damage. And you don't have to hit them every time. I mean, not every one of the UT hits has to connect for them to get killed. So I just love how fast the charges go in this game. It's wonderful. So you also get a ton. I think you get 1,400 per kill on these guys too. So this guy's going to be taken care of right here, and there's one more guy left. I could have used Nympho, but yeah, I could have used a lot. I could have used my Nympho, but then I could not have been able to show people a good strategy for how to deal with this section. See, like this guy, he's kind of spazzing out there for a second, but I need to shoot him down. But if you come close, if you go close enough to them, they'll eventually drop down. The thing is, they like to drop down on top of you, and that's instant death. So when you're doing that 360 UT, you can't even fucking blink, because while you're blinking, they could jump on you. So don't blink. So there we go. Right now I have 2 Nympho in my key gauge, and I'm just going to go to the save point. There is to the chest to the right. I'm going to get that after the next battle. Okay, now I'm going to go over here and deal with these few enemies who are left. I imagine these enemies are skippable, but I'm going to use the Art of the Wind Blades here because I have 2 uses of my Nympho left, and I have that box over there, which is going to refill my Nimpo completely. So if you don't have any Nimpo here, it's okay, because you can probably discharge attacks if you wanted to. But you should have been conservative with an Nimpo, as I did advise. So for some reason that guy went down, and that was a fortunate thing. And this chest over here, I do have 1 flame in my key gauge, but it's going to give me, it gives you 5. So what you want for the upcoming battle is you want to have your flails equipped, you want your Inferno equipped, and you want your Talisman of Rebirth equipped as well. And before you go to the fight, make sure that you have your Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang equipped, because that's what I'm going to be using to teach you guys how to defeat Zedonius Part 2. And it's a really good technique that I discovered by accident last night, actually. Because normally what I do is I do 4 triangles to hit him. And here, by the way, I'm just demonstrating that you could, if you want to completely avoid damage, you fly swallow right there. The difference between this is that this is a shallow little lake, or shallow little stream, and in Ninja Gaiden 2, it's, you see right there, in Ninja Gaiden 2, I would have been under the water drowning right there and trying to swim. So they really fixed this up a lot, but it's still an environment that's hard to deal with, and the camera is pretty horrible here. I mean, that's probably one of the worst elements. So I'm going to have this fight twice, just for everybody. See, he's got the fire laser attack. He also has 1 new move that it's like a fire wave, but I don't think he even does it at all in this fight. But all you need to do is just evade to the left or to the right. But flying swallow, because look at this. He tries to grab me, but I do the flying swallow, and when he's trying to grab me, I'm above his, I'm like at his head level, and his arm is below me. So it works so great. I can't emphasize how wonderful the strategy is. Look at that. Perfect. See? He cannot grab me. And he's got his 1-2 punch. He does one. He'll punch you once, twice. Both of those attacks are blockable. And they don't break your guard either. So it works well. So as far as the Nimpo selection I have here, you notice I have the Inferno, and you might be saying to yourself, why not the Windblades? Well, I tried both, and these lackeys, they take 2 or 3 uses of either one of those Nimpos. So I just don't know how or why they're so resilient, but they are. It might have just been my experience, but normally they are. In the previous fight, they always can be taken out with just 1 use of the Nimpo, but here, for some reason, I really don't know why. They are a different color in both fights. So watch out for that kick. That's also a grab too. So now he's kneeling before Zod, I guess you'd say, if you're a fan of Superman 2, as I am. And I'm going to have this fight slowed down for you guys. But essentially, I'm trying to work with the environment, trying to avoid it. But it's just hard when everything's going so fast. You've got lackeys to deal with, so it's really beneficial to just use a bunch of Nimpo here. You know, Nimpo to deal with the lackeys, Nimpo to give yourself iframes. If you think he's going to grab you, just drop the Nimpo. So he goes down right here. And now here's the fight again. It's in half speed. Just take care of these lackeys here. Focus on all 3 of them, and he always jumps on you. So if you want to do the 360 triangle move... Oh, I'm sorry, I contradicted myself right there. He didn't jump on me that time. But 95% of the time he does jump on you the very first 5 seconds of the battle, like he's going to do right now. And I was very fortunate to not get hit right there. But I'm just sizing him up. I'm going to evade his laser. You could hit him on the side when he's doing that and you won't take any damage. Just use triangle attacks. But I'm just going to use the flying swallow. I didn't know how great this technique worked until I did this battle and I was not even getting grabbed. I never got grabbed, and that's always my problem because I do my triangle combo, the 4 triangles, and I can never quite get the rhythm correct. And you pay a penalty for not getting the rhythm right. Because look at this, he's trying to grab me, but I'm over his head, so he can't grab me. See, block, and then I did a forward strike right there. I think that's why he backed off. Right there, I'm just casting Nimpo just to give myself a moment of peace just for a second to size up the situation, maybe push him off me, and guarantee that he can't hit me just for a brief time. Sometimes it helps you gives you clarity just for a brief second. So, flying swallow, he can't grab me. And I believe you stay in the air longer with this weapon because it does a lot more exaggerated swipes. I might be wrong about that, but it feels like that. Like when I'm doing the Xenodrop with this weapon, it just feels like you get more hang time, I guess you'd say. See, I even went over the laser right there. So now he's once again kneeling before Zod. And I'm taking out these lackeys. One batch of these lackeys, it took like 3 Nimpos to kill one of them. And it was ridiculous. But as in the previous fight with Zed, or Zedonius, you can use their blue essence. I should have parried right there. I don't know why I didn't. But you could use any healing items you get from them. Just grab those and heal yourself. So he's flying up. He's probably going to attack me with a stomp, which I couldn't see. That was a bad predicament right there because I couldn't get I couldn't compensate for that angle right there. I guess I could have blamed it on the camera, but anyway, I think this is the lackey. See, I tossed some Nimpo right there. The lackey's still hanging around, so I just gotta get the lackey out of the way. And I think this one he's still gonna be existing even after this. See, the problem with that I think was Zedonius was in the way. And so probably just 2 Nimpos will take care of these guys here. Yeah, they've got to be direct hits. Zedonius was in the way. That was the problem. There's the flame wave right there. It has a lot of range, so you need to evade quickly if you're near him. But I mean, just look how wonderful that attack is. It gives me a lot of confidence in later fights with this guy. A lot of hope too, because normally I would always get grabbed. Now I finally have a way to avoid his grab. And okay, he's kneeling before Zod again. But I do think too many of these boss battles it's just grab the player, have the player die. I don't think that's really enjoyable. I mean, if you have Nimpo and you should be able to use Nimpo and rest yourself from a grab and not receive any damage. And the penalty would be that you wasted your Nimpo. That would be perfect for Ninja Gaiden 4, but I really don't think we'll ever see another good Ninja Gaiden game ever again. I want to, but I don't think it's possible. And that's really sad. It's really depressing, but you know, there's been too many Ninja Gaiden tragedies. Just tragedies of game making. I mean, I've got 3 guides for Razor's Edge on this channel, but I played that game before I even played Ninja Gaiden 2, and I didn't even know what a good Ninja Gaiden game was. And that certainly is not a good Ninja Gaiden game. That is shit. So make sure you get the loot off the corpses there. I lost the footage. I apologize about that. So instead of making a lot of money here and charging attacks on these fish, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to do standard kills on them to get Ninpo. And as you can see, they drop Ninpo so frequently that you can completely fill your Ninpo bar, your key gauge. So I'm just using square attacks, jumping, square in the air, landing, and just keep mashing the square button. But look at that, 5 Ninpo drops. I don't know how much the Ninpo costs. I think it's like 2,500 if you have 30 crystal skulls. So that's over 10,000 in essence that I saved. And you would not get that much money from charging attacks off these fish. You really don't get much money in this game for charging attacks. You have to do it for quite a while. So you notice the fade out right there and the fade in. Well, I guess it was. I never faded out. I just transitioned it with a regular fade, I guess. So get that item off that corpse. Make sure you don't overbuy right there. And there's a chest up ahead with $1,000 or fish. And the difference between the Wolf fight and this game is that they checkpoint you right before the centaurs in this game. So if you die on Wolf on this game, you have to redo the centaurs every single time. And I'm almost certain that in Ninja Gaiden 2 they checkpoint you at the actual boss. And then I like it much better in Ninja Gaiden 2. So who wants to keep fighting these guys every single time you die on Wolf? I would say he's harder because he's got a lot more speed to him, and just, I don't know, he's just so massive and bulky. But when I melee with him, I don't feel like he outright kills me as easily as some of the other bosses, like Zedonius. I mean, if he impales you with the scythe, you're in trouble, but he doesn't often do that, to tell you the truth. So what I would have here is, I would not waste the Talisman of Rebirth. It's just not necessary. Plus, we're going to be incorporating 360 UTs here. And I'm also going to equip the Void, because the Void takes off quite a bit of his health too when it hits him. It doesn't always hit him. It's completely random if it's going to damage him. But if I do need iframes, I'm going to do that. I believe in the other fight that I had with this guy earlier in the guide, I was waiting for him. Yeah, I'm pretty certain I incorporated that. I was waiting for him to charge at me, but he doesn't charge often in this version. In fact, he very seldom will run at you. I mean, you could be standing around him for a long time and he just won't run at you. And in all honesty, I don't think you can evade when he charges at you, because I think he's got even more bulk to him now. But I'm sure you can evade, but it's very, very difficult. You have to have impeccable timing, which I just don't bother with even trying to acquire, because you could. I mean, this guy is a big time brawler, but if you're always keeping your guard up, doing XXY, throwing Void, doing your 360s, doing XY square 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 square. That's a good move too, which I just did a moment ago. But this is just a great move, a wonderful move to do on this guy. And I'm going to finish him off with 2 XXYs, and I'm going to see you guys in Chapter 16.